Golden Radio Hour.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, your home will be filled with the voices of top entertainers and fascinating experts in the homemaking field tomorrow when Virginia Graham and Mike Wallace bring you another broadcast of NBC's Weekday. Among the special guests is Rita Gam, Hollywood star and one of Grace Kelly's prospective bridesmaids. And Rita will be joined by a singer whose unique style is well known to his many fans, Johnny Ray. Then from Britain, it's actor Trevor Howard. Meet them all tomorrow when NBC's Weekday brings you another day of fact and fun on this station. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus one.
Tonight, a story by Frederick Pohl, Tunnel Under the World.
On the morning of June 15th, Guy Burkhart woke up screaming. It was more real than any dream he had ever had in his life. He could still hear and feel that sharp, metal-ripping explosion, that searing wave of heat. He sat up.
Mary, where are you?
Guy, what's wrong? You're trembling.
Where were you?
In the kitchen cooking breakfast. What is it?
I don't know, a dream, I guess. An explosion.
Did you say an explosion?
Yes.
But that's the dream I had.
What?
I dreamed there was a big explosion, and then something sort of hit me on the head.
Holy smokes, maybe there really was some sort of explosion, and it started us dreaming.
Well, there'll be an explosion down at your office if you don't hurry and get to work.
Coming in on the bus, Burkhart watched to see if there was any evidence of an explosion. There wasn't. If anything, the town looked better than ever. The only thing that seemed strange to him was the fact that none of the usual crowd was on the bus. He was a little relieved when his old pal, Henry Swanson, finally got on.
Excuse me. Henry. Pardon me, sir? Henry, what's the matter with you? It's me, Guy Burkhart. Burkhart? Sorry, I don't believe we've met. What? Henry, for Pete's sake, it's me. If you'll excuse me, this is my stop. Well, I'll be... How do you like that?
Guy Burkhart got off in front of the gigantic Contro Chemical Building, took the elevator to the 98th floor where he had worked in the accounting department for 12 years. It wasn't until he was almost at his floor that he realized the speaker was not playing the usual commercials.
Friends, are you happy with your present home freezer? Of course not. Well, the answer to your problems is a Fecco freezer. Fecco freezers are better freezers. Most wives would do anything for a Fecco freezer. Friends, are you happy with your present home freezer?
Morning, Miss Horn.
Good morning, Mr. Burkhart.
Well, new hairdo, I see, huh?
Why, yes. Do you like it?
That makes a lot of difference in your appearance. Mr. Barth in?
No, sir. He had an appointment with Mr. Dorchin of the Human Research Institute.
Today? But today's the 15th of June. He has to sign the quarterly statement.
He said he wouldn't be in.
Huh, that's mighty peculiar.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, Miss Horn, what the devil is a Feckle freezer?
A Feckle freezer?
There's some new copy on the elevator commercial. Dorch must have landed another account. Feckle freezers.
I really don't know, Mr. Burkhardt.
It's a funny day. Can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something strange going on. He couldn't shake the thought out of his mind. It persisted all through the day and through dinner. He was still brooding as he and Mary got ready for bed.
Tired, dear?
Oh, no.
Anything wrong?
I don't know.
Well, I guess I'll get a good night's sleep. Coming?
I think I'll sit up and read for a while.
Well, good night, darling.
Night, dear. At exactly midnight, Guy Burkhardt lapsed into a sudden, deep sleep. And the following morning, he woke up, screaming.
Darling, what is it? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Bad dream, I guess.
Oh, you gave me such a shock.
I seem to be having a lot of nightmares lately.
Really?
Yes, the one I had yesterday. This was the same. A big explosion and then nothing.
You had a dream yesterday?
Well, of course I did. You had the same sort of dream.
I? Guy, you're mistaken. I don't remember dreaming.
Oh, now, Mary, you told me.
Guy, you're mistaken.
But, Mary, you...
Maybe you dreamed I had a dream. Maybe...
Well, yes, I might have done that, I suppose. Everything did seem sort of strange yesterday.
Oh, that's probably it. You better get dressed, dear. Today's the 15th. That's when the quarterly statement...
15th?
Yes.
Well, it must have been a dream, because yesterday was the 15th. Guy Burkhardt got up, dressed, ate breakfast, and took the usual bus to work. Once again, everything seemed even brighter and newer than usual. And once again, he was puzzled when he noticed none of the old crowd on the bus.
Pardon me, please.
Well, look, don't shove so. Oh, morning, Henry.
Morning. For God's sake, don't talk to me.
What is it? You being followed or something?
Don't you know? I was sure you remembered.
Remembered what?
I can't talk. This is my stuff. Will you excuse me, please?
Well, Henry, for Pete's sake. As in yesterday's dream, Guy Burkhardt got off at his stop and took the elevator to the 98th floor. The speaker in the elevator purred a new commercial this time.
Marlin cigarettes. They're sanitized. Does your present cigarette make your throat feel raspy and unpleasant? Marlin cigarettes contain a miraculous new drug which actually gives you the sensation of smooth, creamy smoke. Marlin cigarettes. Marlin cigarettes.
He walked down the marble corridor to his office.
Good morning, Mr. Burkhardt.
Good morning, Miss Horn.
Do you like my new hairdo?
Yes. Is Mr. Barth in?
No, sir. He had an
Appointment with Mr. Dorchin at the Research Institute. I know.
You know?
Well, I guessed it anyway. And today is the 15th of June, and he won't be here to sign the quarterly statement, and I'm going nuts. Let me have a cigarette, will you?
Yes, sir. Try one of these. They're Marlins.
I never heard of Marlins before today. What are we, a bunch of guinea pigs?
Something wrong, Mr. Burkhardt?
Wrong? Perish the thought, Miss Horn. Perish the thought. He went to his desk and stared at the mail. Before he opened it, he knew that the factory distributor's envelope contained an order for 12 new electronic computers. He knew that the Development Journal contained an article about a new method of transprinting selective brain circuits of human engineers onto the electric brain circuits of robot engineers to facilitate the operation of automatic factories. He knew that there was a complaint from Feinbeck & Sons about the Contro Chemicals' newest household robot circuit. After a long while, he forced himself to open them. They were exactly as he suspected.
Hello.
This is Swanson, Henry Swanson.
What is it?
Do you remember?
Remember what?
Just remember.
All right, now listen, Henry, let's stop playing games. Yesterday, either I was dreaming or you snubbed me on the bus. Today, the same thing happens.
Oh, you do remember, thank heavens. I thought so when I saw you, but I couldn't be sure.
Well, what is it you want?
Listen, tomorrow morning, when I get off the bus, you get off with me. Be casual. They may be watching.
Who may be watching? Swanson! Hello!
You buzzed, Mr. Burkhardt?
Yes, I'm still out of cigarettes. Would you buy me a pack of Kelvins?
Wouldn't you rather have Marlins?
I smoke Kelvins.
But, Mr. Burkhardt, Marlins have that soft, creamy smoke that's so soothing to your throat.
Oh. You really believe that stuff?
Well, it's true. I wouldn't say this, Mr. Burkhardt, except that, well, I've gotten to know you pretty well, and I've grown to admire you so much.
I see.
Would you mind, Mr. Burkhardt, if I told you that for months now I've wanted to, well, just comfort you? I know how troubled you've been.
Well, you've never mentioned your feelings before, Miss Horn.
April. My first name's April.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a pretty name.
You see, I do have your welfare at heart. That's why when I see you smoking Kelvins and I know Marlins are so much better, won't you let me buy some of them for you, huh?
Well, I suppose so. Why not? Here, bring me a carton.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Burkhardt. Guy?
I think you ought to go.
I'll be back.
There was something wrong. Something definitely peculiar about what was happening. The call from Henry Swanson. The strange behavior of his secretary, Miss Horn. These new products, the dream. Guy Burkhardt went home that night feeling like a man in a nightmare.
Is that you, dear?
It's me.
Did you have a good day?
Fair.
Oh, before you sit down, will you go down in the cellar and put in a new fuse? The switch in the hall closet blew out. I shut it off.
Okay.
Supper will be ready in a minute, so don't start fooling around with that old boat hull you've been building.
I won't. Mary! Mary!
What is it?
Come down here. Hurry up.
What is it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I was looking for a fuse, and I thought maybe I'd drop one under the boat hull, so I scratched around. Look. Let me put the flashlight on it.
Well?
Look at the floor.
What about the floor?
It's supposed to be cement.
Well?
Well, it's copper. There's a thin layer of cement, but underneath it's metal. Look here. Underneath the concrete, more metal. And here on the wall. You see? Metal. Metal under the floor, behind the walls, every place.
Well, I don't really understand.
Mary, I know this sounds crazy, but somebody, for reasons I can't even begin to guess, has taken this house and replaced it with a clever imitation.
Guy.
Mary, I'm going to look around a little more.
Well, your dinner will be ready.
All right, save it for me. There are a couple of things I've got to figure out.
The following morning, Guy Burkhardt woke up screaming. He dragged himself into the kitchen where his wife Mary was preparing breakfast and discovered it was still June 15th.
Mary, where's the morning paper? Where is it?
It's outside the door, I guess.
Uh-huh. June 15th.
You'd better hurry, dear. Today's the day Mr. Barth fills out the quarterly tax return.
Oh, no, it isn't.
What?
He won't be there. He'll be at a meeting with that crackpot Dorchin at the Human Research Institute.
Mr. Dorchin?
He'll be there. And Miss Horn will have a new hairdo, and the elevator will be selling some new product, and Swanson...
What about Swanson?
Swanson, he said... I wonder if it's going to be the same today, or whether...
Guy, what in the world are you talking about?
Huh? Nothing. Never mind. Where's my coat?
You haven't had any breakfast.
I don't want to miss my bus. I'll see you tonight.
Guy Burkhart got on his bus. There were the same unfamiliar faces, the same unusually new-looking buildings, the same unusually bright sunshine. And on the customary corner, Henry Swanson, pale and furtive, climbed aboard.
Excuse me, sir.
It's quite all right?
Do you remember the phone call?
Yes.
Oh, thank heaven. Get off at the next corner and follow me.
Where are you going?
There's an excavation for a building about a block down. Make sure you aren't followed. I'll go first. Burkhart. Here, behind the fence.
All right now, Henry, what's this all about?
I'm not sure. At first I thought perhaps they were Russians. Now I'm beginning to think they're Martians. No humans could have accomplished what they've accomplished.
Now, wait a minute. Start from the beginning, Henry. What's going on?
Look, Burkhart, peculiar things have been happening to you, right?
Yes?
A lot of your friends are missing. Your house seems changed.
Yeah. There's something stranger than that. The date. Today is June 15th. Yet I could swear yesterday was June 15th and the day before that.
You got it, friend. It's always June 15th. And you and I are the only ones who know it.
But why, Henry? How?
I'm not sure. I think it's some sort of mass hypnosis or something.
Well, why doesn't it work for us? My wife, Mary, doesn't remember a thing.
Somehow, when it happened, they missed us. We were protected from the full force of the rays or whatever they used. Burkhart, where were you on the night of the 14th, about midnight?
Let me see, that was Sunday night.
Yes.
Yeah, I was down in the cellar under the boat I'm building.
I was in my darkroom developing some pictures.
This just doesn't make any sense to me. Russians, Martians. What makes you think that?
I've seen them.
Where?
At the end of the tunnel.
What tunnel?
The one they built under Tylertown.
A tunnel under Tylertown?
Yes, that's right. It's made out of copper or some alloy.
Copper? Wait a minute. I found a copper layer under my cellar floor last night.
So did I. That's how I discovered it. I found a way to get in, too. It's at the bottom of this excavation.
Holy mackerel. Henry, why don't we tell the police?
Because we can't trust them. Even the police may be Martians in disguise.
Oh, come on now. You're being melodramatic.
Oh, am I? Well, you just come with me.
Where?
Into the tunnel. I'll show you.
Henry Swanson led Guy Burkhart to a small hole in the side of the excavation. There he removed a cut-out piece of metallic substance, and they crawled into a dimly lighted tunnel. They walked for what seemed like 2 miles until Swanson held his finger to his lips.
We've got to be quiet now.
Henry, this is fantastic. They've got a tunnel right under the whole town.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. There's a room a little farther down. We'll be able to look through a glass in the door.
Is it safe?
It's perfectly safe, unless one of them comes along. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Here. Now, Burkhart, look through this glass. Now, just so I know I'm not completely insane, tell me what you see.
Good Lord.
Well?
A tremendous panel with dozens of telescreens. And in front of each, a servo robot. They seem to be computing something.
Yes, I've watched them. They're evaluating data from the screens.
Have you gotten a chance to look at the data on those screens?
No. I've been afraid to go in. There might be a warning circuit somewhere.
Well, if we knew what those robots were working on, we could go to the authorities.
I'll risk it if you will.
All right, it's worth a chance. We're lost anyway.
Okay. Open the door. So far, so good.
Come on. Let's take a look at that data.
But don't interfere with the robots.
Don't worry. Here, let's look at this screen. Listen to this. Tests in the 47K12 group with Marlin cigarettes pulled 80% using the soft feminine approach. Indications are that an extension of this approach would influence at least 70% nationwide. The direct elevator pitch pulled only 10%. This should be abandoned and a new series of high persuasion personal elements introduced. Henry, do you know what this means?
I haven't the faintest idea.
I don't blame you. This is crazy, but it fits the facts when I think about it. Do you know who's behind this?
Martians?
No, not Martians, Henry. Humans.
What?
Humans who are interested in developing the perfect propaganda machine.
What?
I don't know who they are or how they've done it, but somehow they've taken Tylertown over.
Hypnosis.
Hypnosis, drugs, maybe some kind of array or something. However they do it, what happens is that they let us live through a single day. During that day, they pour all kinds of suggestions and propaganda into us. At the end of the day, they evaluate the results, see how we've reacted. And at midnight, they wash the day out of our minds, and the next morning we start the same day over again with different stimuli. Do you know what that means, Henry? Suppose one man learned how to influence people 100%. Why, in a year, he could sell us anything from freezers to political candidates.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're guinea pigs, Henry. This whole community is one big test tube for Dorchin's propaganda research.
Burkhardt, what do we do?
I don't know, but somehow we've got to get out of this town and get to the FBI.
What do you think we can?
It's worth a try. Come on.
Wait.
Huh? What is it?
Look through the door. There's somebody coming down the tunnel.
You've got to hide.
Behind the circuit box. Wait.
Good Lord, it's Dorchin, the head of the Research Institute.
Shh, quiet.
All right, Burkhardt, come out. We know you're in this room. Miss Horn has informed us that you remember. I must warn you that it's useless to buck us. Come out peacefully. Let our maintenance crew adjust you properly so you don't remember from one experiment to the next. It will be quite painless. If you don't come out peacefully, we'll have to get you.
Henry, take this wrench. When I give the word, jump him.
But he may be armed.
Well, we've got nothing to lose.
Very well. I'm coming after you.
Now! Burkhardt, I've killed him.
Now, wait. Get his coat unbuttoned. Maybe his heart is still beating. Henry!
What is it? What's wrong?
Look underneath his coat.
Heaven help us.
It's a robot. A humanoid robot designed to look like Dorchin.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Wait.
What's that?
It's a loudspeaker.
I told you it was useless, gentlemen.
Who are you?
Mr. Dorchin, naturally. The real Mr. Dorchin.
What are you trying to do to us?
Merely trying to prevent you from damaging my experiment, gentlemen.
You can't get away with this, Dorchin. Sooner or later, somebody, the FBI or somebody, is going to get wind of this madness.
Really, Burkhardt, you're quite naive. Now, why not be reasonable and let the maintenance crews adjust you?
And if I refuse, I suppose you'll kill me.
That would be quite impossible.
Oh?
You see, Burkhardt, you're already dead.
Dead?
You're shocked. It's quite true. You and everyone else in this town were killed by a premature atomic blast at the Condro chemical plant. The blast occurred at 7 a.m. on June 15th. That is the last thing imprinted on your minds. That is why you wake up screaming each morning.
No, it isn't true.
But it is. What I and my associates did was take the brain circuits from your dead bodies. We stored them in electrochemical batteries till we had a chance to rebuild the cities and begin our tests.
Do you think I believe a fantastic tale like that?
I imagine you find it incredible. Of course, we didn't rebuild everything exactly. After all, it only has to last for a single day, June 15th. At midnight, we turn off the power and wash out the memory of the day. You and your friend Swanson, unfortunately, have defective circuits. You remember.
Burkhardt, it's no use. We're trapped. Give up.
No, not me.
What can we do?
We can make a run for it down the tunnel. Come on.
It's useless, Burkhardt.
Keep going.
It's useless, useless, useless.
Now, this door is open. It opens. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. Swanson, look.
They were standing on a ledge of smooth, finished metal. At their feet, the ledge dropped away into a chasm so deep they could not see the bottom. Beyond was only a glare so bright that their eyes could not stand to look into it. And yet, just at the limit of their vision, something towered. Something so huge it was almost inconceivable. Something.
Burkhardt?
Yes?
This is Dorchin. Now do you understand why it's useless?
The great looming figure moved closer. It seemed to take shape now, and yet it was so gigantic as to be unbelievable. It came closer. The glare was partially blocked. And then, Guy Burkhardt knew that the towering shape was none other than Dorchin himself.
You see how I did it, Burkhardt? I took your brain circuits and had them reduced so they could be transferred to tiny humanoid mannequins. That's what you are, Burkhardt. A tiny miniature of yourself. And this city, this whole experiment I'm conducting, is built on a tabletop.
It was the morning of June 15th, and Guy Burkhardt woke up out of a dream screaming.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features another story by tonight's author, Frederick Pohl. It's the second installment of his novel, Slave Ship. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, an important subject in these days of snow and blizzard is how to fight the common cold. And tomorrow, NBC's Weekday deals with this problem in a special feature by Dr. Leona Baumgartner, New York City Health Commissioner. Yes, it's NBC's Weekday to keep you up to date in every field, from health to housekeeping, from politics to pots and pans. And there's also the best variety entertainment on Weekday, tomorrow headed by Metropolitan Opera star Robert Merrill. Listen every Monday through Friday to NBC's Weekday. And now stay tuned for X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight's story, $1,000 a Plate by Jack McKenty.
Discovery ship from Deimos Space Station carrying cargo and passengers from Earth now arriving in Blasting Pit 6. Radiation clearance and quarantine officers report to passenger conveyor. Mars Airways to New Chicago, Port Kelly, Marsport Park, New Amityville, and Nova Massapequa. Take off in 15 minutes. All aboard.
Excuse me, sir. Could you help me?
Sure, buddy. What'll it be? Cards? Dice? A little shot of distilled huckleberry?
No, I just wondered if you could direct me
Brother, you came to the right man. I can direct you anywhere you want to go. That's what I'm here for. You just get off the ferry?
Yes, I came on the Phobos Queen.
Yeah. You know you can spot him in my business. All right, what'll it be now?
Well, I want to know how I can get to the observatory.
The what?
The Mars Observatory. You know, the Astronomical Research Center.
What do you want to go there for?
I work there, or at least I will.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of them double-dome stargazers, huh?
Yes, I'm an astronomer.
Yeah, I heard there was a lot of you guys out there under glass, but I don't get out of town much. I got to keep my hand in, you know. Are you sure you wouldn't like a little flutter before you settle down in your rut?
No, I never play cards. Occasionally a little chess.
Uh-huh. I don't know if they got any chess in any of the casinos, but if you want, I could arrange it. You know, play against the house, $5 apiece for the kitty, and a C-note for checkmate.
No, thank you. Can you direct me to the observatory?
Well, you'll have to get a sand hack. None of the regular buses go by there. They just hit the casinos on the strip. Hey, I'll tell you what. The next ferry won't clear for another half hour. I'll walk you over to the hack stand.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Mr.
Just call me Pusher. It's on account of my occupation, you know.
Oh, I see. I'm Enright C. Bensinger, Dr. Bensinger.
Well, it's a pleasure, Doc. Right this way.
Well, this isn't exactly what I expected.
Your first trip to Mars, huh?
Yes, it is.
Well, you'll get used to it. Out this way. Adjust your gills.
Gills?
Sure. Well, what do you think you're going to breathe outside that door? There isn't enough oxygen on Mars to keep a mouse alive. They give you a standard issue when you got off the ferry. It's in that bag.
Oh. Yes, I'm afraid I was reading when they explained it. The quarterly journal from the Harvard Observatory, you know.
Hmm? Oh, yeah. I never miss a copy. Now, look, you put the nose clip in, see, and crack the valve. This way it compresses enough air to keep you going. Okay? All right, let's go.
Cold.
Sure, it's cold. Sand hacks are right up the street there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All the colors in the sky. I am surprised, though, in an atmosphere this thin, the sunset shouldn't be as spectacular.
That ain't the sunset, Chief. That's the new sign on top of the Canal Casino. Right there behind you, see?
Fun.
Yeah, but if you want a square shake with the dice, you go to Harry Harvey's place, the Red Sands Hotel.
I suppose the seeing is excellent.
You're telling me. You know, he's got a line of girls like you never see nowhere else.
Oh, I'm afraid I meant astronomical seeing. The telescopes, you know.
Hey, you got an idea there. Telescopes.
What's that?
Nothing. Fireworks. It's a Mardi Gras.
A what?
Mardi Gras. You know, big party all over town. Parades, costumes, liquor, fireworks, gambling. You know, big celebration.
Well, what's the occasion?
An eclipse of the two moons.
Oh, but that occurs very frequently.
Oh, sure. You'd be surprised how much a Mardi Gras ups the take on the strip. Well, here are the sand hacks, and look, don't let them hackies charge you more than $15 for the trip. Just tell them you know me. Just tell them Pusher sent you.
Gentlemen, I want you all to meet Dr. Bensinger, our new colleague. These are Drs. Fitz, Spiegel, Ortney, and Klein. I'm sorry to introduce you to our team at such a critical moment, but our situation is rather desperate.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Spiegel, show Dr. Bensinger your plate.
Here, just look at this. Just look. It took me 8 weeks working with the computer to plot this plate, and look.
Well, it seems fogged. These streaks, I don't believe I've ever seen them on an astronomical photograph before. What are they?
Skyrockets, that's what they are. Skyrockets. Morton, I tell you that they fired them in our direction on purpose.
All right. Calm down, Spiegel.
Calm down? Do you realize that it will be 12 years before this particular conjunction can be photographed again? Morton, you've got to do something.
Couldn't you write a little note to the Chamber of Commerce and ask them to eliminate the fireworks?
We've written a note every time a small boy lets off a Roman candle, and it was no use.
I tell you, they fire them this way on purpose.
I'm afraid that's true. The other directions around town are either oil refineries or homes of the casino owners.
I don't suppose there's any chance of moving the observatory, then, out into the desert.
My dear Dr. Bensinger, We'd have to bring in crews to tear it down, other crews to move it and set it up, not to mention breakage and replacement, which would involve more freight from Earth at $7.97 per pound, dead weight. As it is, the immense costs add up to a staggering total. Do you know what a single photographic plate costs us, counting overhead? $1,000.
Well, then what is the answer?
Another letter to the town council, I suppose. Let me write it this time, Dr. Morton. My grandmother used to have several rather picturesque phrases which I believe I could translate.
No, Spiegel. Dignity, remember? We are an adjunct of Harvard University. Dr. Spiegel, I shall ask you and Dr. Benzinger to accompany me in person to the town council. Surely they cannot turn down a rational request in the interest of science.
Well, gentlemen, the town council appreciates the problem.
Yes, I felt certain it would. Naturally, you're aware of the importance of astronomical research, Mr. Harvey.
Well, I can see your point, Doc. You sit out there in your little glass hut, pointing your brownie camera up at the stars, snapping away. But you got to look at our point of view.
Oh?
Now you take my place. Harvey's Red Sands. I got a heavy investment. 14 crap tables, a half a dozen roulette wheels, and the rest of the overhead. I got to keep them wheels running. It's the Mardi Gras that drags the suckers in.
But really, Mr. Harvey, we were just asking you to curtail the pyrotechnic display.
Now, wait just a minute. I'm as clean living as the next guy.
Oh, Dr. Benzinger means the fireworks.
Oh. Well, I'd like to help you out, boys, but I look at it this way. Those stars you're looking at are going to be up there for a couple of thousand years. But a sucker is different. You got to grab him while he's still healthy.
But in the interest of science, surely the town council can't agree with you.
Doc, the town council is made up of Joe Rocco, Pete Carney, Alex the Armenian, and me. We own the 4 biggest houses in town. So go ahead, fellas. Take all them snapshots you want to. And if you happen to lower your telescope, get a couple of good ones through a window of the Grand Canal Hotel. I'll take a couple of 8x10 enlargements. I'll see you around, Doc.
Well, I'm afraid the town council was no help.
They just remain insensible to reason.
Well, I'm afraid the only thing those gentlemen understand is money.
My dear Dr. Benzinger, the smallest bet allowed in Mr. Harvey's establishment is approximately the same as your monthly salary.
Oh. Dr. Morton, suppose the gambling operators were suddenly to lose a great deal of money.
They never do.
Of course, with the ordinary layman playing against them. But suppose the best scientific brains were to concentrate on a simple matter like the probabilities of a given roulette wheel, or the combinations and permutations applicable to a game of poker. We could put the main computer on it.
Doctor, are you seriously suggesting...
Well, I think he's got a point. If we could give those casinos a shellacking, they might stop the fireworks just to get rid of us.
Now, let me get this straight, Doc. All you eggheads up there made up a kitty to get into a crap game?
Well, that's right. I thought you might direct me to the largest establishment, Mr. Harvey's place, I believe.
Now, look, Doc, come over here. Mm-hmm. No, over here in the corner. Now, look, I'm a pusher. See, my job is to take these tourists by the lapel and shove them in front of a dice table quick, before they spend any of their letters foolishly on food and lodging. But these rubes, they come here expecting to get took. They don't miss it, you understand? It's all part of a good time. But you guys out there running your Harvard peekaboo racket, you're different. Now, what do you want to get mixed up in this for? You take your peanuts home and shove it in a piggy bank. Save up and buy yourself a new telescope or something.
I appreciate your solicitude, Mr. Pusher, but I'm quite determined. Which way is Mr. Harvey's place?
Well, if you've made up your mind, the bus leaves from right over there in about 15 minutes. Get a round-trip ticket, because Mr. Harvey don't want no suckers stuck without they got car fare away from his place.
I shouldn't worry about that. Frankly, I expect to leave Mr. Harvey flat broke. I'll see you just before dawn. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
But what happened?
Luckily, a certain Mr. Pusher was generous enough to lend me $15 for a sand hack. Otherwise, I would have had to walk.
Well, that was rather decent of him.
Well, not exactly. He said he gets a percentage when he pulls in a ripe chump.
You mean it's all gone?
Every dollar. I just can't understand it. I kept careful notes. I followed the formula that was worked out by the computer. I calculated the odds by slide rule, carrying them to the 4th and 5th decimal place. I just can't understand it. Mr. Pusher said that I had a frigid digit.
A what?
A cold finger. I gather that's the opposite of a hot hand.
But according to the games theory as outlined in the last International Congress of Theoretical Mathematics...
Unfortunately, at the last Mathematical Congress, they weren't trying to make a 4 the hard way.
There they go again, skyrockets. I was hoping to get at least 3 plates in before they started.
And the crushing blow occurred when Mr. Pusher offered to sell me my horoscope.
No.
Yes. Oh. He said anyone was a fool to get into a dice game if the stars weren't right.
Now, there's an example of what we're up against. Medieval superstition existing side by side with hydrozyne rockets and nuclear space drive. Shocking!
I'm not so sure. Might be a good idea.
Dr. Morton sent for the staff psychiatrist. Benzinger has scratched his reflector.
No, gentlemen. Pusher was right. Every man who's going to gamble should have a horoscope. It's very important to know what the stars say.
What are you talking about?
And where on Mars is the place best equipped to tell you what the stars say?
Oh, no.
Dr. Benzinger.
Gentlemen, I tell you, it may be a stroke of genius. Hello? Is this the advertising office? This is Dr. Benzinger. I should like to place an ad. No. No, there will be no pretty girl. Just this. Free. For the first time ever, your horoscope scientifically cast by the staff of the famous Mars Observatory. Learn your luck, your future. Write or call Mars Observatory. No charge, no obligation. Yes, thank you. I'd like to run that every day until further notice.
Pusher.
Yeah, Mr. Harvey.
Did you do like I said?
Yes, sir. I went out to the observatory just like you told me. You know, I had to share the sand hack with 5 other guys. I understand the bus company's putting a route out there.
A big crowd, huh?
Sure, Mr. Harvey. You know, them horoscopes they're giving there, the only thing on Mars that don't cost the tourists any money.
All right. What happened?
Well, when I got out there was this Doc Benzinger. You see, all dressed up in a dunce cap with stars on it or something, in a big robe. They showed us all around the place. You never saw telescopes as big as that.
All right. Skip the travel line.
All right. Well, finally, they took my name and my birth date, my collar size, and they run it through this computer. You should have seen that thing. Lights and bells. I'm telling you, it looked like the biggest pinball machine you ever saw. I kept waiting for it to tilt.
The horoscopes.
Yeah, well, they give it to me finally. I mean, the first couple of pages is the ordinary bourgeois about the sun and the moon and the stars. But on the 4th page, that's the kicker.
What'd it say?
Well, it said that I'd be real lucky at most of the gambling places, but I'd lose my shirt at... boss, you're not going to like this.
Go ahead.
I'd lose my shirt if I played at Harry Harvey's place.
Pretty shrewd. You know, for a bunch of scientists, they're pretty smart. That isn't going to work. Who in his right mind is going to pay attention to a lot of hooey like that?
Sure, Mr. Harvey. Can I go now?
What's your hurry?
Well, I'm going over to Purple Flamingo to play a little poker. I mean, after all, they say I'll be lucky any place but here. I mean, you can't argue with science.
Gentlemen, I think we're on our way. I checked Mr. Harvey's establishment. You could shoot an elk in the gambling room.
Empty, eh?
There was nobody playing but an elderly masochist who likes to lose.
Dr. Morton, we have a visitor.
Benzinger, I have asked you please to take off that confounded astrologer's hat when you come into my office. It embarrasses me.
Oh, I'm sorry. But, Doctor, allow me to present Mr. Harry Harvey.
Hiya.
How's business, Mr. Harvey?
Yeah. Well, look, gentlemen, let's put our cards on the table. You put a hole in my pocket like I haven't had since I once ran into an honest police lieutenant in Cincinnati.
I presume you've come about our horoscopes?
Yeah. Let's shoot or get off the foul line. How much?
I beg your pardon?
How much will it take to lay off?
Mr. Harvey, just a promise.
What?
You're on the town council, Mr. Harvey. Now, the next time the question of tourist entertainment is discussed, we want you to vote against any fireworks display.
Well, sure, that's no problem, but look, I'm only one vote.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Harvey. Every one of the casino owners on the council will have his turn to be mentioned in the stars.
Yeah? You going to knock us all one by one like a flight of ducks?
Well, that's the general idea.
I got to hand it to you. I got to take off my hat to you.
Mr. Harvey, we're desperate. We cannot afford to let valuable and irreplaceable photographic plates be spoiled by fireworks.
Okay, you win. But listen, here's $5.
$500? But we couldn't take it, Mr. Harvey. I've already explained.
It's not for me. I want you to take a full-page ad and do the purple flamingo in your next horoscope. I'd like to see Joe Rocco's face when he gets a load of it.
All right, Mr. Harvey. We'd be glad to take him next.
Oh, and one more thing before I go. Can I look through the telescope? I never looked through one before.
Well, that's the last of them. The Red Sands, Frank Land's Paradise, the Martian Gardens, the Two Moons Club.
And the Purple Flamingo. Dr. Morton, we've got them all.
There will be a meeting of the town council a week from now, and after that, no more fireworks. All those beautiful stars and nebulae and not a misbegotten skyrocket to stand between us. Oh, it's beautiful.
Gentlemen, I have some news for you.
You have?
I am in receipt of an interplanetary radiogram from our parent organization, the Harvard Observatory.
Are they going to send the new mass spectroscope?
Please. Morton, Earth newspapers carrying accounts of horoscopes published by your organization. Very unscientific. Harvard Board of Overseers aghast. Must stop at once. Find other solution. Signed, L.K. Bell, Director.
Well, I thought Thursday was the regular day for personal message delivery.
It is.
Oh, Mr. Harvey.
I asked Mr. Harvey to wait in the washroom. He brought the message down.
Oh, sure. All of us have contacts in the radio office. We can get a hold of messages a couple of days before they clear.
Did you come down to gloat over our misfortune, Mr. Harvey?
No. You got my promise to help you boys, and I'll stick by you. But the rest of them, well, it's tough, fellas, but business is business. I'm afraid the fireworks will go on as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Look, what would happen if you brought all the boys out here, showed them around, and then you could offer to name a star after them or something? I'd sure like to be able to point in the sky and say, that's Harvey's star.
Well, Mr. Harvey, I'm afraid any stars worth looking at with the naked eye already have names. Besides, Harvard Observatory wouldn't stand for this idea either. It would make as much sense to them as you naming a poker chip after me.
But, Dr. Morton, we've got to think of something.
We tried rigging up a photoelectric cell. It closes the shutter when a rocket goes up, but it cuts the exposure time too much.
But if we can't get these plates, we may not be able to duplicate them for years. Why, right now they're preparing the first trip to a newly discovered planet. And the work of the observatory is necessary to ensure the success of that trip. Now, surely your colleagues will realize that, Mr. Harvey. The future of the human race is at stake.
Doc, the only race those jokers are interested in takes place at Tropical Park.
Look out there. They're starting the fireworks.
All of them heading this way again.
No. It's nothing personal. It's just that if we point them any other way, they're likely to splash people. Or maybe set something on fire.
You mean if the rockets misfired and get the tourists all wet, there would be trouble?
Oh, sure. You couldn't have that. A guy with wet pants ain't going to stand around no crap table for hours.
Mr. Harvey, do you really want to help us?
Well, sure, I promised, didn't I?
Dr. Spiegel, do you think the research library would have any material on pyrotechnics?
Bensinger, what do you have in mind?
Well, Dr. Morton, I was thinking of fighting fire with fireworks. Careful with that match, Harvey.
Oh, don't worry. With the oxygen around here, you need a blowtorch to light a cigarette.
Have you got the rockets ready, Dr. Bensinger?
Well, here they are in the launching racks. I've got all my instruments, compass, a clinometer, an azimuthal radioscope, and a blowtorch.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Spiegel. He's bringing the calculated trajectories from the computer.
Say, I don't know if I like this. What if they miss? Or they go off too soon or something?
Oh, nonsense, Mr. Harvey. You forget. We're scientists.
Here are the figures, Bensinger. We double-checked them on the master computer.
All right, then, let's go. They'll be starting the official fireworks any minute.
Azimuth 360.3570.
Check.
Elevation 49.3740.
Check.
That's corrected for wind, velocity, temperature change, and magnetic eddy currents.
Are you sure you guys know what you're doing with them skyrockets?
Don't worry, Mr. Harvey. They're going to explode in the Grand Canal and get everybody in the Canal Casino all wet. You shouldn't object. After all, it's your competition.
Coming up to 0 hour, Bensinger.
Light the torch.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire.
There they go.
Oh, interesting effect. That purple color.
Oh, do you like it?
Yes.
That was my idea. Radioactive fluorides.
They're up over the town now.
Hey, one of them's beginning to wobble.
Oh, I can't understand that. The computer was absolutely certain.
It's going over the south of town.
The other one's tracking correctly on the radar. It'll hit the canal square.
Yeah, but look, the purple one. There it goes. It hit.
Looks like it's starting a fire.
Hey, must have hit somebody's house. Hey, you can see it now. It's a house burning.
Oh, dear. There must have been a weak tube in the computer.
Yeah, some guy's going to be real sore. I can see it real clear with the glasses now. That house on top of the hill there by the Geeko bush. Boy, it's burning like...
Mr. Harvey, what's the matter?
That's my house!
Dr. Benzinger, I've called you in to read a letter that I've written to Mr. Harvey. Oh, do you know his address?
I believe he's staying at his gambling establishment. His house was a total loss.
Yes, well, yes. This has been a very difficult letter for me to write.
I believe the letter is academic, Dr. Morton. Mr. Harvey is outside.
Oh, he is?
With 2 very large gentlemen with bulging pockets.
Oh, dear. I don't know what to say. Well, Mr. Harvey, what a surprise.
You 2 apes wait outside. Now, Dr. Morton, about those fireworks. I want you to know I believe in direct action. I don't like fiddling around.
Well, of course not.
Like the time I had some trouble with a bottom dealer from Luna City. I didn't fool around. I sent him back to the moon in a cargo rocket with no air.
How interesting.
Now, about your problem.
I assure you, we apologize.
Apologize? That's great.
I just remembered I left a few plates in a bar.
I don't go away, Doctor. You're in on this, too.
No, there wouldn't be room. Not for 2 of us.
What are you talking about?
Well, in a cargo rocket, especially without air.
What? I'm trying to tell you. The council voted against fireworks.
No, as a matter of fact, I have a very bad sinus, and no air would definitely... What?
Oh, sure. We decided anything that could burn down an honest citizen's house was too dangerous. Very civic-minded, that council.
But I don't understand.
I kept my promise. I said I'd help you, and I did.
Well, I'm terribly embarrassed. We were trying to get a collection among the staff to help you pay for your loss, but I'm afraid the total assets of the observatory wouldn't reconstruct your garage.
Yeah.
But we held a staff meeting, and we decided on a more permanent kind of remembrance. Mr. Harvey, on this photograph, you see this trail? This bright trail?
Oh, one of them skyrockets again? I'm sorry, Doc. It won't happen again.
No. This is no skyrocket. It's a comet. It will be quite bright for several months. And we've decided to call it Harvey's Comet.
Harvey's Comet? Hey, that's real nice. Harvey's Comet. Hey, Doc, you put me on top of the world. Them boys at the Canal Casino boasting about their new sign. But me, I got a comet. Harvey's Comet. Why, every sucker on Mars will see it every night. It's the best advertisement since they wrote 7 down across the face of the moon.
Well, I'm glad that you're pleased.
Well, as a matter of fact, Doc, I kind of heard about it in advance of one of your boys. You named the comet after me? Okay. I brought something for you. Here.
What is it?
A poker chip for my place. Go ahead, read it.
Harvey's Club. Dr. Morton's poker chip. 5,000.
That's dollars, Doc. Don't spend it all in one place.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.